Hey guys, have you ever wondered why as a character Amaya was never pink? I wondered too, so I did my own reroute. Keep watching if you want to see how easy this was. Hello everyone. I didn't know I have a fourth blue Amaya doll in my cupboard. I bought this in a lot quite a long time ago, and she is quite messy because she was played with by a child, and I already have 3 of her. I've customized 2 of them and I left 1 original, so I'm going to customize this 4th one as well. I'm going to change the blue in her hair. I've just given Amaya a boil wash and straightened her hair out, and I'm going to remove her main blue color part line and the hair around her hairline as well to replace that with another color. And I've removed the eyes so that when I'm done I can see which eyes are actually suitable for her. So this is Amaya with her blue hair removed, and I also use a nail clipper to pull out everything so that you have just the bare holes here. I've also removed some green hair, just a few plugs here and here, and I have removed her whole part line. And this process kind of slowed me down, but I will keep this hair for the next reroot, or if somebody needs bubblegum blue highlights. This is the front part of her hair where it was mixed with the purple. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, and a little bit of green. So she already looks very different down here with a pink base. I can't imagine what she'll look like with a completely different base, but I think it's very pretty. I will fill up this part line and give her a new part line probably on the other side, since I already have an Amaya with a part line here. So what I'm doing now is I've measured Amaya's hair, and it's about 18 centimeters long. And then I am adding about 2 or 3 centimeters to this OMG doll's hair. I just take the bottom layer of her hair and I am going to cut it here. She is going to be a doll with short hair, but she is not going to be scalped, even though she is just an AliExpress head with a stain that cannot come off, but I think she deserves some hair. And then I take some fabric glue and rub it onto the ends of the hair and really massage it in. Now that it's very well massaged in, I will let it dry till it is slightly sticky, but it is more or less dry. It is now dry, but it is not completely dry, so I'm going to separate it into many tiny extension strands. So now that everything is separated into small tiny extension strands, I am going to show you how I root it into her head like this, and eventually her entire hairline and her entire part line will be rose gold. Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to reroot a doll using doll hair, fabric glue, and a large needle with a handle. So after her hair has been prepared, I will take my big needle. This is actually called an awl, AWL, and it's actually used for poking holes in leather, but we are just going to use that to widen the hole today. And then I'm going to take a cloth that has a slight bit of cushioning because it's quite thick, and I would always lay the doll's head on it whenever I'm rebooting, because if you kept turning her, sometimes when you reboot the back of a doll, you could scratch her face, and some of these cannot be removed, or it may be difficult to sand it down, or it could remove some of the makeup. So I always put it on a cloth. The other reason is because I push this stick in quite hard, and I would like to make sure that if it stabs right through, I do not poke my finger or I do not damage the table. So that's why I have this. The other thing is there is a lot of force used in rerooting, typically like widening the holes. Even with this method, I will have to push it in a bit hard, so I will stand up. I'm actually standing now. I know you cannot see that, but what I do is I take that hole. Now when I push it, I try not to use all the force in the world. I try to lean my body forward slowly into it so that I do not use that much brute force. And you see that needle was sliding all the way in. It could have come out here and stabbed me if I was holding the head like this. So that's very dangerous. That's why I always put it this way. And then I wait a while as I am fishing out a strand of extension. I hold that glue strand. After a few seconds, I pull it out and instantly push that glue strand in. Now you can see the hole is still rather wide, so I will leave it for a while to close, and I will not poke the hole next to it. In fact, I'll start somewhere else so that that can close, and then I will use the hole next to it and everything, and hopefully I do not have any scalp splits. So as you can see, sometimes you will have the scalp splitting. So with that, you have to be extremely careful not to widen the hole too much. But at the same time, you can always skip a hole and let the holes merge. It will not be much of a problem. So I'm going to continue with another area down here. As you can see, I'm always just leaning my body downwards. Wait, you cannot see my body. So I'm just leaning my body downwards to push that in, to give as little pressure as possible on my hand, so that at the end of this repetitive process, my hand will not be aching. Now, this is the part that you have to do rather quickly, because the moment you pull out the needle, this hole is going to start closing. That's when you have to hold this in your 2 fingers and quickly slip it in. So that's a very quick process to slip it in, push it in, and that's it. Just leave it there. Now it will still be slightly wobbly, but as long as you've pushed the whole glue end in, the hole will slowly close, and then it will be very secure. If you are not very sure of this method or a little bit paranoid, you can still put some glue into the hair and then it will stay. So I have done this without the glue in her head, and it has actually lasted me for a very long time. So I am very glad that I realized this method, uses less force. And I mean, the only thing is pushing this down to lightly widen the hole, but don't rush when you do it. Try to do it slowly, try to do it with less pressure, and the repetitive process will not be so painful. So leave that in for maybe 10 seconds, hold this, get ready, and go. I push it in. Yes, it's gone in already. So once the hole, you can see the first hole that I started with, which was the first hole, this one has already started to close up quite a lot, and so the rest will follow suit. So try not to just go down the hairline, because you let the holes close up before you continue doing it near there. So I'm going to find my next hole, and I'm going to poke this in like slowly. You can wiggle it if you want to, but I would rather just slowly push it in to avoid the scalp splitting. I have found a way to glue back the scalp if it splits, but it is a very messy way. I use epoxy, and if you use too much epoxy, it gets on the hair and it ruins the hair. So let's not even go there. Let's try to do this without splitting her scalp. Put it in. So this is a very gentle process. I wouldn't say it's relaxing. I'm trying to do it without brute force. So I'm really trying to make sure that my hands don't ache, my neck doesn't ache after this whole process. So basically that's all I do, and then I will do this in fast mode, and then hopefully I will come and show you how I do her part line. So right now I have completed quite a lot of her hairline within a short time, and as you can see, some of the holes may split and join into each other, so I kind of avoid them. But earlier on, you saw when I first started doing this, I was really pushing the needle all the way in. Right now, if you see how some of it has stretched a little bit bigger than it should, it's actually okay because it will close up when you boil wash it. But if I want to fill up these two tiny holes that are very near, because the vinyl has already been stretched, I don't have to poke the needle all the way in. I just push it in very slightly, and the plastic is already, or the vinyl is already stretched out. And then I take a piece of the hair. Now you can see how much of the needle is still sticking out. So I just take that piece of the hair, get it ready in my hand, and I pull it out and I push it into that hole that has already been widened by a lot, even though I didn't push it all the way in. So actually it is not, you are not going to have to push violently into all the plugs, but just very slightly here, widen the next hole. Oops, yeah, that's just a little bit of the needle going in, and then you will be able to see that the plug is very quickly widened already, and this way when you fill in the in-betweens, it will not split the whole scalp. Can you imagine her whole face coming off? I think this is a very pretty rose gold doll, and you know, if it goes down with all the colorful rainbow, it will be very pretty. I am really wondering why Amaya wasn't like rose gold, if it was, or pink for that matter, if it's a more popular color. But you know, I think she looks very pretty like that. Now that I have done her whole entire hairline in the front in rose gold, I am now going to do the part line. And actually, contrary to what most people would think, the part line is quite a quick area to cover, because what they usually do in the factory is they will have one row here and one more row, and then they will crisscross them. But actually what I'm going to do today is I'm going to root only one row. As you can see, I've taken a watercolor pencil and drawn a dark line so that I get her hair slightly off center, and of course it will move toward the middle of her hair. And so what I've done is I widened a hole, and off camera I have also taken another lot of hair. However, for this one I have taken out the extension strands to be slightly thicker, so maybe 2 or 3 times of a normal strand that I would do. Yes, and I have to really widen this hole to let that go in very quickly. And I just quickly push that in. Yep. Now because it is much thicker, it needs a bit of help to go in. So there it is. Now if for some reason, you know, it is too thick, it may not go in, and for that sometimes I will use the tagging gun to help me, which is quite simple because I just slip this into the groove, and then there's actually a groove on the needle, And when you pull the trigger, it actually pushes the hair out. So you will only want to pull the trigger when the needle is inside her head. So I widened the same hole again, and I'm gonna push this in, and I'm gonna pull the trigger, and there it has launched the hair into the hole. Well, if you can really widen the hole a lot more, you could actually just slip in the strand of hair like I did. But once you have too much hair, then you will probably need the tagging gun to help you. So, yeah, let's see if this next strand would go in. Yes, it did. And yeah, but a little bit of the glue side is sticking out, so I'm just gonna push it in, which doesn't need much. Yes, okay. So as you can see, I have stuffed 3 thick strands into the same hole, and I can widen it again because I'm going to stuff another 3 thick strands into that same hole. Yes, a lot of hair shoved into the same hole. So I can load a tagging gun first, and hopefully the hole is still big enough to take in another tuft of hair. But what I'm going to do this time is, let me try. Okay, yes, it does go in. Hooray, it does. And I'm going to pull the hair to the other side. So as you can see now, that's how the hair part line splits over to the other side, by making sure that I have equal amount of hair on both sides, or a rough estimate. Yes, and you see that, so you can see that all the hair is in the same hole, and it splits down the middle like that. And then you can see that that's a very, very tight, oh sorry, I was off camera, let me try to focus that. You can see that that's a very extremely tight part line. And if you feel that, because you can still see some scalp, you can widen the hole once again and load in more hair. Now, of course, it's not a must to have 3 thick strands on each side, but what I really feel is actually happening is I will look and see that I have more than enough hair to cover the scalp area, so that you don't see any of her scalp at all. And there it is. And yes, okay. But also what I have done is my holes cannot be too, okay, let me come into the camera. The holes cannot be too close together. You see how much space there is. If it was too close, it will also cause that whole scalp to split once you are done. So that's exactly what you don't want to do. Now I still feel that it could have more hair, it could be thicker, so I'm just gonna add a bit more hair to each side. By now the hole is covered with a lot of hair, so I think that the tagging gun will help to push the strands deeper in. So I'm just gonna do that and slightly push the hair strand deeper in. It's a very gentle process with no brute force. And then I will again widen that hole, and I will bring more hair in. By now there is no way I can slip the hair in without the tagging gun anymore. So I mean, sometimes you slip it in, sometimes you need the tagging gun to kind of help you, and then you will get enough hair. As you can see, the part line is really very tight. Yeah, so there is no crisscrossing method needed. Once you are done with this, it is done. Yes, and I will finish the rest of this part line off camera, and then I will show it to you when I'm done. So I'm going to, before I go off camera, I'm going to show you, just going to leave that much of a space before I poke the next hole. Now it's better to have holes that are a bit more spaced out and have much more hair inside than have holes that are too close together and cause the scalp to split. So there, I will finish up everything until the end of the line here, and that will be her part line. And then I will boil wash her and hopefully choose a nice eye color for her, and you can see that afterwards. So here is Amaya as a rose gold doll, and I think it's a very nice color on her, but she definitely needs some curls so that the rainbow colors will show, because nothing is showing at all except there's just this bit. And I've just done a boil wash, so I need the iron to go through her hair at least to make it smooth. So here is my Amaya with rose gold hair, and I'm really happy with the way she turned out. I tried to smoothen the top. Yes, I know with this kind of shiny nylon it does look a little bit dry, and I gave her some curls at the bottom, and you can still see her, you know, her color peeking out with that. And you know, this is how Amaya would probably look like as a pink doll, but you know, I guess. And this is from behind, this is what we get. It's split of color. And yeah, I guess there are too many pink dolls for them to have made Amaya a pink doll as well, but I do love her as like a rose gold or a pink doll. I do love her very much, although it would be nice if none of this was shiny nylon, but you know, I think it has its beauty as well. So she is in Stella's dress, and let me know what you think of her. What do you think of her as a pink doll and, you know, barefoot and everything? Yeah, I hope you like her. And here she is standing up, yeah, with that, all that color coming through. There you can see it finally peek through. So this was like, I was following what they did with her. I just left the blue, whatever blue was inside, but as you can see, it's like it's almost like the original Amaya, just, you know, a Street Fighter version. When you choose a different character, you have a different color, base color, and I guess her base color is now pink. So I'm wondering to myself, if, you know, pink is such a popular color and Amaya was to be like their main character, why was she not pink? If you know, maybe let me know in the comments why you think Amaya wasn't pink, and yeah, let me know. And please share the video and subscribe, and you know, if you try out this method of rerooting, let me know, because it's very easy. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Here's all her color once again. I hope you like it, and I really love her very much. She is like one of my favorite dolls right now. Thank you.